at the South Terminal at London Gatwick Airport. Just behind me is Arrivals, and just here at Arrivals at 18:25 today, there would have been very happy smiles, perhaps young Indian students who have landed in London for the first time for a master's course, for higher education, starting in 2 months' time when the fresh academic year begins. There would have been families reuniting, people traveling to London for the first time on a holiday, or perhaps British Indians who we know are more than 53 in number on that plane and would be probably returning to London back home to get back to their normal life. But those happy smiles and that reunion will be missing, because just from the board behind me, AI 171 has not found a mention, has gone missing. And that's because of the air crash that has happened in India, just outside of Ahmedabad. We know from Gatwick Airport officials, and we've been speaking to sources, that there will be an information desk in the North Terminal of Gatwick Airport, not in the South Terminal where the Air India flight was supposed to land, but in the North Terminal. Information just to try and understand latest update, what next to be done by family members. Up until now, no family member actually has turned up, because it's still a few hours to go before the scheduled arrival time that it was. But now that becomes very irrelevant, a detail of what time the flight was supposed to land, given it will never land now in London. The High Commission of India has set up an emergency helpline assistance for anybody trying to travel to India in regard or in relation to this particular emergency accident that has happened. Then that support is being offered for any inquiries again, and for sharing all the official details that have already been shared so far. And for latest updates, the High Commission of India is offering that support, and that emergency line is available on the Twitter account or the X account of the High Commission of India. But at this stage, it seems quite dull here at the Arrivals, and we're waiting to see what sort of a support system will be created at London Gatwick Airport for the relatives of all those passengers on board AI 171. Meanwhile, at Ashdown House in Gatwick Airport, a reception center has been set up for all the relatives of the passengers who were on board AI 171. Information is being shared. A police official is being able to first identify the relative and the connection with the passenger, following which all relevant information is being shared in coordination with the airline Air India. Gatwick Airport is signposting people, relatives who are visiting this airport, to Ashdown House, which has the reception center for passengers' relatives who are based here in London and heading to Gatwick Airport. Meanwhile, the Indian High Commission has been sharing emergency visas, and we know from sources in the High Commission that a lot of paperwork has moved already, most of it digital, for any members, family members who are interested in traveling to India. In about an hour's time, this flight should have landed in Gatwick Airport, and a lot of people would have been here, reunited with families, coming back after holidays, or arriving to London for the first time for a holiday, meeting with spouses, or students coming to London for the first time to start their course. But unfortunately, there have been several tragic stories, and if India is shaken by what has happened, so has London. The Ahmedabad to London sector has been a very important sector for passengers here. We know that Gujaratis form a big number of British Indians here in the UK. I'm a part of several community groups and diaspora groups where messages have been pouring in of shock, some knowing friends or family members, even family members directly, but of course maintaining sensitivity and allowing the family members to first process information and not invading into privacy of the family members who are on those who are known to these community groups. Also, several community associations, diaspora members are offering support alongside the High Commission of India. So helplines are available, information is being made possible. However, not taking away the fact that the wait for their loved ones from India has been terribly harrowing and one which perhaps will end quite tragically for several relatives here in London and the rest of the United Kingdom. I'm coming to you from Leicester in the Midlands in the United Kingdom. The lone survivor of AI 171, Vishwa, that's his home behind me. As you can see, there are people who gathered even during this late evening. They've been there all day since news broke out that AI 171 crash landed. Vishwa, as we know, is the lone survivor. But even as that offers good news, even as it suggests that there was a miracle really that he jumped off the plane and survived that ball of fire in the air, his other brother, Ajay, was on the same plane. And the family here is just devastated, not being able to hear anything as a confirmation about Ajay. As you can see, a few members have gathered here, and Leicester is witness to not just this family, but to the sadness that many families in Leicester are suffering this evening, alongside many others who were on board AI 171. We know that at least 7 families have had direct relatives on board that plane as passengers on that terrible crash landing that happened. We don't know yet as a confirmation on whether there are more and more members from the United Kingdom traveling to India, but we know from the High Commission and sources in the High Commission that emergency visas are being issued. Vishwa, for instance, is a British citizen, and his brother too, Ajay, is a British citizen. So the family is now bound to India to try and ascertain what happened to Ajay, and they're hoping that there'll be another miracle, as would so many other family members who are still waiting for that confirmation and are hoping for the best and hoping against hope, as many would say. But Vishwa is fine, and that means that this home can come back with at least one brother who is under shock, is in trauma, and is desperately in need of information about his other brother, Ajay. Vishwa, the lone survivor on AI 171, made it and is likely to be home soon in the UK. And what a relief for brother Nayan. But I'm so sorry to share that at the same time, Nayan has great levels of uncertainty to know more about the other brother who was also on flight. So Nayan, your 4 brothers. Firstly, thank you so much for talking to us.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Are you 4 brothers?
Yeah, we were 4 brothers.
When did you get to speak to Vishwa last?
Like 2 hours ago, before the doctor denied him of speaking to anyone. Furthermore.
Is he fine? How is he?
Yeah, he looks fine.
Okay. And did he have anything to share about the other brother, about Ajay who was on board? Does he have details? Is he scared?
Yeah, that's the only thing he was worried about. He wasn't even worried about himself or any injuries his body has. We're just worried about finding my other brother.
What made the 2 brothers travel to India?
Vacation.
And both Vishwa and Ajay are married.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are.
I'm just so sorry. This is just such a mix of emotions, and I can see from the support and the love that you're receiving from neighbors, family members. I can tell that there's so much love in this family. How are your parents, man?
My parents are really devastated. I'm just in utter shock at the moment. My mom's been crying all day.
I'm sorry. So I'm really very sorry. Are you likely to travel now to India? What next?
Yeah, we're going to travel to India tomorrow.
And what sort of support could you now ask for at this stage? Anything practical that can be offered by the UK, by communities, by the diaspora in India?
Honestly, I don't even know what kind of support we need. We just want to get to the hospital, me, my brother, and then see what happens here.
Yeah. And when did you hear about all of this? From the morning? Was it minute by minute or?
Yeah, it was minute by minute. As soon as the plane crashed, Vishwa's got off the plane, and he video called my dad and saying that our plane's crashed. I don't know how I've survived or how I've made out of the plane. I'm looking for my brother. I don't see any other passengers. That's what he said.
Wow, that's incredible. Resilience too. So he video called you just after the plane crash?
Yeah.
Yeah. And clearly he rang you guys first just to say what happened.
Yeah, he did. He rang my dad's first.
Yeah. So it's you and your parents traveling.
Yeah. And my brother.
Have a safe flight, and thank you so much for talking to us. I'm really sorry for the harrowing time that your family has had to go through.
That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So just outside Nayan's home here in Leicester, I'd just like to take a moment to show you the support he has from friends, from family members. His cousins are here, his uncle, aunt, and inside I can see into his home that there's a prayer meeting that's on, and we join in offering good wishes to Nayan's family, just as they're hoping that the other brother Ajay is well as well, and there is more miracle as offered by Vishwa, who jumped off the plane and video called his family just to say he's fine, but to share the news of what happened on AI 171. In Leicester's Belgrave, there is Ram Mandir, and with me is Chetan Bhai, who represents the temple. Chetan Bhai, Air India का जो 171 plane crash हुआ, बहुत ही भयानक और बहुत ही सैड जो बात हुई, उसको लेकर आपका एसोसिएशन और मंदिर किस तरह का सपोर्ट और प्रेयर ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहा है, आप हमें बताइए लेस्टर से।
पहले तो ये बहुत दुख की बात, जब मैं आज बर्मिंघम में फ्यूनरल में था, मेरे को ये मैसेज मिला कि इंडिया में एयर इंडिया का प्लेन क्रैश हुआ, तो बहुत सुन के दुख हुआ। और जब भी मैं वापस इधर आया तो अभी मेरे को पता चला कि मेरा इधर 25 कूपर स्ट्रीट में मैंने अभी जिसको घर दिया था वो हस्बैंड वाइफ दोनों इसमें चल बसे हैं। और अभी 20 दिन पहले वो इंडिया गए इधर मंगनी करके। ये लड़का है और इसकी वाइफ डॉक्टर है। इस बहुत हार पास अवे इन द प्लेन क्रैश। सो अभी मैं वहाँ से आया उसके घर से कजिन को मिल के, तो उसने बोला हाँ ये लड़का है, हाँ ये उसका नाम है हार्दिक और इसकी वाइफ का नाम है अमेजन। हाँ विभूति, वो डॉक्टर है, तो वो अमेजन में काम करते हैं। और अभी इधर 25 कूपर स्ट्रीट में मैं आपने फ़ोन किया तब मैं उधर ही था, उसके पास ही बैठा था। तो ये भी मेरे को अभी पता चला कि मेरा ये इतना अच्छा टेनेंट चल बसा इसमें। तो सारे हम कल मंदिर में मीटिंग भी करने वाले हैं कि हम अलग से अब सारे मंदिर वाले को इकट्ठा करके एक प्रेयर रखे बड़ी कि ये बहुत दुख भरी घटना है। तो इसे कोई भी होएगा, कोई भी हमारे पास हेल्प मांगने आएंगे, वी आर रेडी टू हेल्प देम कि भाई ये हमारा हुआ ये है। तो अभी मैं इसको बोल के आया कि उसके मदर फादर ने अभी DNA टेस्ट दिया है अहमदाबाद में, तो उसको 72 आवर्स के बाद पता चलेगा कि इसके लड़के की कौन सी डेड बॉडी है, तो वो हैंड ओवर करेंगे। फिर मैं शनिवार को वापस उसको सैटरडे को फ़ोन करूँगा, उसका जो भी सामान है जो भी है मैं अपने खर्चे से उसको इंडिया चाहिए तो इंडिया भेज दूँगा। जो भी हेल्प होएंगे दूसरे कोई भी होगा इसमें से, क्योंकि लेस्टर में से मेरे ख्याल से और ज़्यादा लोग भी है इसमें जो चल जैसे है। एक ही लड़का बचा है लेस्टर का जो उसका वीडियो घूम रहा है, तो उसको भी कुछ भी हेल्प चाहिए, वी आर रेडी टू हेल्प। और सारे टेम्पल वाले हम एक ही है, हम कोई अलग अलग नहीं है, चाहे स्वामीनारायण हो या राम मंदिर हो, सनातन मंदिर हो, हिंदू मंदिर हो, वी आर ओनली वन।
प्रेयर मीटिंग्स हैं अभी
हम कल सबको मैं ग्रुप में बांट के, हमारा जो हिंदू जैन ग्रुप है उसमें लिख के सबको बोलेंगे कि राम मंदिर में हम अभी ये भजन रखते जो भी रखना है ASP। और ये शनिवार एवरी सैटरडे हम राम मंदिर में 11 हनुमान चालीसा करते हैं, तो ये शनिवार को 11 हनुमान चालीसा हम इन लोगों को डेडिकेट कर लेंगे। और एक बड़ा प्रेयर भी सब मंदिर वालों को साथ में रख के करेंगे, क्योंकि हमारा मंदिर है सबसे पुराना है राम मंदिर, बहुत बड़ा है। अगर आप कल सुबह हो आ जाइए मंदिर पे, 8 से 1 बजे खुला है, देखने लायक मंदिर है, इधर ही है बाजू में। तो वो हमारा एक है बस।
There's one thing that's very famous in Leicester, and that is Belgrave Road, which is home to over 220 businesses. One such restaurant by a kind man called Babu. The restaurant's name is Ahmedabad in Leicester and has kept his doors open for us and for people who've just gathered just to share sadness and just talk about the tragedy that has happened in India, where on that fateful plane of AI 171, more than 200 passengers have lost their lives. One person survived, who is from Leicester. But unfortunately, so many others have died. And his brother, the man who survived, his brother was also on the plane, but he lost his life. But let me introduce the speakers first. Nisha Popat, you're the chair of Belgrave Business Association.
That's right. Hi.
Hi. Your name?
My name is Pradeep Popat, and I'm an owner of a restaurant called Mirch Masala as well, and I'm a committee member on the BBA.
Okay, BBA's Business Association of Belgrade. Okay.
I'm Vinod, part of the Amravati's team. So, yeah.
Thank you for having us and for giving us space to speak. Firstly, let me get your reaction. I mean, this has been devastating, the shock, the horror. How is Leicester reacting?
I think there's so much. I think when people first heard the news, and I got to the restaurant this morning, and before then you'd seen it on social media, I think people have come in and said how sad they're feeling, how upset they are. Even if they have very little relationship with India, at the end of the day, they're Indian. And so there's this strong connection. But also then the horror of the fact that these people were from Leicester, so it brings it very close to home. These are people you know, or you know somebody related to them. But the whole incident, and a number of people I was speaking to earlier were saying, we often just fly to Ahmedabad because the only direct flight you get to Ahmedabad, to India, to Ahmedabad is Air India.
Yeah.
So a lot of people use that flight to go to Ahmedabad because a lot of them are from Gujarat. Quite a large population in this area is from Gujarat.
Yeah.
And
let's talk a little bit about that. Thanks for mentioning that. So Gujarat's presence in England, especially Leicester, in London, is huge. And how important is this sector of Ahmedabad and...
As you know, Belgrave Road also is known as the Golden Mile.
Yes.
And most of the population is here from South India, but also from Gujarat. So...
South Asia.
South Asia.
Yes.
So this part of Leicester is most important. Having heard about this news, we're all devastated. And recently when I was filling up at a petrol station, I saw another colleague of mine, a taxi driver. And I said to him, what are your thoughts about this? He says, I was going to pick up some passengers who were coming from India on that flight. Right? And he says, it was devastating. Now, instead of picking them up, he's taking the relations to Heathrow to go and identify the bodies in India. So it was such a shock to us, and it brought it so close to us that people are from Leicester and we're all devastated. And we're a community which is bind together from South Asia, and we feel the pain all these families must be going through.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Vinod, what sort of activity, how has business been, I won't say affected because it's affected all of us, but people are coming just to meet each other and not quite spend. So how is...
I think it's now it's beyond business. First is about the humanitarian basis. Irrespective, my family is not, none of my family is part of that incident or indirect contact as well. But what happens is I'm in a community where most of them are from Gujarat, are based in Ahmedabad, or some part of Gujarat as well. So what happens is when they are coming in, like just few minutes back, somebody was saying my family and relative to my family is also, part of this incident. It's really shocking. Since morning, we had been listening to this news. We'd been seeing videos. It's definitely scary, first. Second is, it's not getting out of your mind, right? Since morning, whatever we do, somewhere we're thinking about 242 members was part of that incident. And we are also thinking about the family, because how difficult it is for the family. What is happening to my kids? What is happening to my mother, father? A lot of relationships were in that flight, right? So it's very difficult, heart-touching, and to come out of it, irrespective it's from India, it could have happened in anywhere, any part of the world.
The list of passengers on that flight came out. In Gloucester, a Muslim family, the father, the mother and a young daughter by name Sarah. All three passed. We heard Chetan Bhai of the one of the key members of the Ram Mandir in Leicester, who had a tenant couple who were married for only less than a month, and they had traveled to India and wanted to come back to throw a party, their after wedding party. They couldn't make it. Thank you so much for allowing for people to have these conversations. And you said sometimes we can pray, what else can we do? But we can listen. We can hear them out when they come to speak and they want to just have a chat with someone. So thank you so much for your compassion. And like Vinod said, horror stories on that plane. Each story is just so heartbreaking when you see a doctor couple, their children, a special child struggling in fear, holding on to his father just seconds before the flight crashed. Two brothers, one made it, one didn't make it. A couple that was married only less than a month ago and was waiting to throw a wedding party, but both Vibhuti and Aditya couldn't make it. And so many such terrible, terrible stories. Many young students perhaps were waiting to come to London for the first time, UK for the first time to study, and many others were trying to just have a holiday, really. But it turned out to be just so horribly wrong. But in all this, there is a sense of resilience that I can already feel, although these are such early moments and there is so much shock in the air. And while the horror is spread across the UK, Leicester is feeling the pinch and the hurt a little bit more, given at least 7 families were having passengers on that plane. Thank you so much for joining us. Radhika Iyer from Leicester for NDTV.